How's it going, everyone? So we'll be starting the stream here. Southeast Asia server, maybe. I guess it depends if they can find a publisher. So how's it going, everyone? Yeah, I'm thinking it's only going to be the network test feedback and maybe like a small hint at what's going to be coming at next. Maybe like talk about the next stream that they're going to be doing. I'm guessing their big numbered stream, the 7.0, is going to be the one with the biggest reveals, like the roadmap going forward and everything. Yeah, but hopefully it's good news. Like maybe they'll talk about like how much time they need to fix some things and give us a general idea of where they're going to be going. I think it's going to be an Orange Studio because it's like the decimal broadcast, right? 6.3. If it's like a bigger stream, then they're usually in their main studio, but probably going to be their smaller studio. Yeah, hopefully we can get some ideas of the feedback they got from the network test. This time they didn't have a survey or anything, so it's probably mostly what they experienced in the game and also what they saw online on social media sites like Twitter and whatnot for the game. I'm hoping they do a big announcement soon. Maybe next month we'll have a big stream. That'd be nice. I'm doing good. Yeah. Looking forward to the stream. We got the countdown timer here too. We're at 6 minutes more. What's the point of doing a little stream if there's a big stream next week? I think they're doing a little stream to give us an update on the network test and changes they're making. And then their next big stream is going to be the roadmap they talked about before. So more information, I guess, going towards like the game's release and whatnot. So they probably don't have that information ready yet. So they don't want to talk about that in this stream. I think they're trying to hold off their big announcements and big game reveals and things for another stream. So it's probably going to be mostly just focused on the network test from my guess. And what they talked about on Twitter with their tweet. We're gonna have to wait for another tweet to announce a date for another stream or something. Another announcement of an announcement. But what is it? Coming up in Japan, it's gonna be Golden Week, so there's gonna be about a week of time where people are mostly off work. And then I guess they would come back to work, but then considering that before another stream, probably another few weeks, maybe maybe middle of May if we're lucky. Yeah, I don't know about a release date announcement. That'd be nice if they announce it today. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's NT feedback, so network test feedback is probably the main topic, and I think they may give some I guess extra tidbits about various other things about like what's in the future, like the next big stream. Maybe they'll talk about that. I don't know if they'll get to actually talking about a release date yet. That's probably the next stream, but they'll talk about that. But who knows? Just guesswork until we can see what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking maybe June release date. We'll have to see. Depending on how much they need to change based on the network test. Oh. So I guess their stream is kind of started. All right, let's see. What we got here? Right, 2 more minutes until it's 8 o'clock here. So it should be starting momentarily. Yeah, there are a lot of other big game releases. I don't know how much they're worrying about them. Maybe not as much in Japan. Because I don't know how like big Diablo or something would be in Japan compared to, you know, like the West or China. Yeah, hopefully they just keep giving us updates though. People get worried when there's too long of time without them saying anything. Oh yeah, they can't even do China right now. So maybe Korea, I guess. Blizzard is still pretty big in, but yeah, China China doesn't have any Blizzard games anymore. Forgot about that. Something's happening. There we go. It's starting.
この揺らぎは来者の。いや、でも。
ここであったのも何かの縁。見殺しは夢見が悪い。
この辺じゃ見ない顔だが、アステルリーズに来たばかりか。
私たちが時空を超えてきた。というのはなんとなくお分かりでしょう。
Yep, good timing. Just starting.
そうなの。
決断を下すのはまだ早いか。
I don't know about the release date, but we can hope. But I'm still guessing the next big stream is that there's gonna be a release date. But maybe we'll get some hints at what's gonna be coming.
この歪みを正せるのはエーリンズ様ただ一人。
roll for the release date. Hopefully it's not a delay. I think people are done with delays. But it is kind of interesting they're doing their like mini stream instead of their big numbered stream. Focused on the network test. Was there a lot they needed to change? How is that going to impact everything? Oh. Are they okay? I think they're purposely acting like that. I don't know if I should switch off the chat to make it a little bit easier to view.
本日はバンダイナムコオンライン、そしてバンダイナムコスタジオが共同開発中の PC 向けオンライン
So I can do like this.
生放送を通じて皆さんにお伝えしたいと思います。本日の番組も小数点の番組配信となります。で、バンダイナムコオンラインの会議室より自分たちで配信を行っている番組となっております。音声機材を一部入れ替えたりですね、始める3分前にエラー出たとか、言ってましたので、まだまだスタッフも、慣れていない。
They had like an error appearing about 3 minutes before like everything was about to start, and the staff were in a little bit of a frenzy trying to get things worked out. But I think maybe like an error with like the broadcasting stuff, so, but they got it figured out.
本日も番組を一緒にお届けするメンバーをご紹介します。
はい、皆さんこんばんは。バンダイナムコスタジオプルプロトコル開発統括ディレクターの福崎です。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。
Kazaki, he's the lead developer.
配信機材変えたというこうあまりにも僕が暗い
ここはね暗い
正面にめちゃ明るいライトがついたのと、あとちょっとマイクがね、はい、トラブルがあるかもしれないんで、はい、皆さん本当音
they got some new lights, and then maybe if there's like problems with the mics or anything, let them know. I think they had some troubles last time with the mics.
今回もですね、小数点の番組になりますので、ブルプロ通信で実施しているいつもの内容などは実施しませんが、
So it's another decimal live stream?
内容があるという内容なので、短めのやつじゃないという感じではございます。この点は番組でご理解いただければと思います。
はい、それでは早速ですが、始めていきたいと思っております。まずですね、これは言っとかないといけないと思うんですが、3月31日より実施させていただきましたネットワークテストにつきまして、多数の方参加いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。
So starting off, they're thanking everyone for participating in the network test. That was on the 31st.
今後の展開などお伝えしていくということでお話しさせていただいてたんですけれども、まずはですね、ちょっとその先行してネットワークテストの結果であるとか、皆さんから、多数頂戴している、ご意見について方向性などを、今日は話したい。
So first they're going to talk about the results of network test and some of the feedback they've gotten from players and everything.
このためですね、本日の放送では、正式サービスの日程については、発表はございません。
So there's going to be no information about the release date in today's broadcast.
いただきますので、最後までご覧いただけますと幸いです。
Yeah, so they gave us that information at its start.
それでは本日のご紹介内容です。スライド。はい。はい。ネットワークテスト結果とテスト後の調整についてとなっております。
All right, so two things: the network test results and about adjustments they're going to be making after the test.
まずはネットワークテストの結果について簡単にではございますが、カテゴリーに分けてお話をさせて。
The stream volume? Yeah, I guess I can turn it up a little bit. I don't want to turn it up too loud, because I'm going to be talking over them sometimes.
はい。まずはサーバーインフラ関連ですね。ネットワークテストとしてのサーバーとかね。大きめな問題として発生した内容なんですが、オープン時にアクセス集中があったこと。
Right, so the first thing is about the server infrastructure. So when they first started the test, there was a problem with loading not ending, and certain servers needed maintenance, and there was the 101, 103, and 104 errors occurring. So in regards to the problems that were occurring, they investigated them and are working on fixing them. But for the most part, during the test, it was overall stable.
ロードが開けないが発生しました。これはデータベースへのアクセスを司る仕組みに負荷がかかっていたものによる原因ですね。はい。で、テスト中に一部のアステルリーズサーバーによってメンテナンスが必要となった。これはサーバーメモリとかの問題で、メンテを入れる必要があったということです。その他101、103、104エラーなどが、発生をしている状況がございました。101エラーは特定のネットワーク環境に依存する問題だというところは、確認が。
Error number 101 was occurring on certain, I guess, network conditions for, so I guess depending on maybe the player's network or something.
103はですね、ゲームのインストール先に関係した Windows の管理者権限に関係した問題であると、104エラーにつきましてはいくつかの、発生ケースがあって、それぞれの発生状態を調査確認を現在も。
I think one of them was also depending on like Windows, maybe like administrative conditions or something like that they were saying, and then 104 is occurring on various conditions.
ますが、ゲームから切断された後なんですね。キャラクターが元の位置に帰ろうとするときにその場所がなくなっていたりすると、このエラーが発生しやすいと。とかがで、ここら辺の状況を確認をしている。
Whereas I guess a problem if you like your character was in a certain position and that position disappeared when you tried to come back in and it was causing an error.
になってます。発生した問題などは現在も調査、改善を進行して、このような問題はありつつもね、接続いただけるプレイヤーさんの増加に合わせた、チャンネルの自動拡張が、これに伴うスケーラーのロジックとかですね、ネットワークテストで確認をさせていただきたかった内容というのは、しっかりと確認をすることができた。またテスト期間全体で見ます。
So they were saying that their server scaler was one of the main things they wanted to test during this network test, and that was they were able to see that tested properly without too many issues, I think. So overall, their infrastructure was very much stable for the test.
こちらはですね、皆様には直接的に見えない部分となるんですけど、オンラインゲームでは、こういったシステムかなり重要で、キャラクターの状態を、いわゆる確認できるツールが、
Next is the back-end tools and systems. So it's about administrator tools and logs and being able to check those. And these are kind of things that behind the scenes.
なんだろう、キャラクターの状態を操作するとかですね、トラブルがあったときに対応するためのものとか、それに関連したログと言われるものですね。こちらのツール自体がすごく重くなってしまったりとか、運営チームが操作をするときの利便性に問題があったりとか。
So I guess there are some problems with some of these things. I guess the administrative tools be like moving like a player or something like that if they got stuck or something like that. And but I guess it was a little too intensive, or like the load of it was a little too much. So they were having some problems with these areas.
っていたよりもかなり大きく、
I guess this log in
発生してしまう
particular,
ことで、このログの転送を行うことによって問題が出てしまう。
the log was, I guess they were logging too much stuff, and so when they tried to like expand it, it was having problems.
確認でした。皆様には直接的には関係しにくいものなんですけど、これはサービス運営を行うためにはとても重要な。
So it does not directly affect the players in particular, but it's important for running the game. So these are some other problems they want to work at fixing.
こちらですね、テストを行わなければなかなか課題認識ができなかったという部分でございましたので、かなりテストの、意味が大きかったと。
ね、
はい、
ありがたかったですね。
はい。次にセキュリティソリューションに。
Next is the security solution.
ご検知をしてしまう可能性があるかもしれないとお伝えをさせたものですが。
All right, and they said, yeah, before the test that there may be some problems where it would have some false positives because it's something that runs when you try to launch the program to check for third-party programs that could be affecting the game in the background.
としては運営チームで心配したようなご検知は発生しませんでした。テスト期間中にですね、NG となっていたソフトについてはこれは問題がないだろうというところで、一部のソフトウェアの起動は許容をさせていただくとかっていう設定に変更を。
I guess they changed a few different programs to be allowed to run.
音飛んでるのかな？
どうなの？
ノイキャン？音飛びすぎ
I guess they're talking about sound in the studio there.
ノイキャンを変えてみる。ちょっと下げて。ノイキャンをちょっと下げてみます。
Maybe the voice canceling with their mics is having some issues.
ノイキャンをちょっと下げてみます。
さっきちょっとやってもらったんですけど、
ちょっとじゃあまたしますね。
ひどかったらまた言ってください。
はい。次にセキュリティソリューションですね。どこまで喋ったっけ？許容設定に変更させていただきましたと。なおという内容なんですが、残念ながらですね、テスト期間中においてもごく少数ではあったんですが、いわゆるチートを試みる行為というものが、確認されております。このような行為について。
Okay, so then they also found a few instances of players trying to cheat in the game. So I guess that was properly detected.
ましてはアカウントのバン。
So they banned those accounts
ハードウェアのバン。
and also banned the hardware.
このような不正な行為はですね、ゲームを通常プレイいただいている方へ、迷惑をかけることとなりますし、サービスとして
So trying to cheat like that affects the game and other players, so that's something they don't want in their game. So
同様にこのような行為においては厳正に対処を。
So when the game releases as well, they'll also be banning players similarly that try to cheat.
では次にパーティー関連です。スライドします。はい。ネットワークテスト実施を延期した原因として、お話をさせていただいた内容に、一部関連しているという部分ですけれども、パーティー関連はですね、合流に失敗するケースと一部状況でパーティー状態が異常になってしまうような新規の不具合を、確認をして。
All right, so this is another thing that I thought they might be talking about, because I heard some people mentioning it on Twitter, but there are some instances with the party related to parties in the game, so being in a party, and occasionally there was instances where you would fail to meet up with your party, I think going across like zones and whatnot, and there was also some other party irregularities that were occurring, some bugs it looks like, so some bugs related to the party system.
こちらは引き続き発生原因の調査と対応を進めていると。
So they're looking into these issues as well.
ゲームバランス調整です。テストの期間中からですね、ゲームバランスにつきましては様々なご意見を頂戴している状態は、確認させています。またテスト結果をログなどを統計化をして、一部のゲームバランスにつきましてはサービスインまでに調整を行うことを決定させていただきました。
And also in regards to game balance, they're also making some adjustments, and they have a post from inside the game where they're talking about the adventure board, drop rates, gathering, were some of the things that Fukuzaki wanted to look at. So a lot of the main issues that players were reporting. I guess occasionally like their voice cuts out or something like that. Maybe because of noise canceling, but.
してるって書かれてる。俺があれかな。こううんうんってうんうんとかこう相槌を入れると飛ぶのかな。え、そんなひどいの？
Yeah, they're I guess conferring about mic issues.
なるほど。じゃあしっかり声張って喋りましょう。
はい。
Speak loudly. Just try to fix it.
余談的画像となっておりますが。ちょっと大きめで。はい。福崎さん。
Maybe talk just a little bit louder to hopefully fix the problems with the mic.
話題になっていました。
話題ですね。
はい。あれ画像は出てないの今。
ギリは今消えてます。はい。ギリぬいぐるみじゃなくなってる。
はい。本当にですね、今日リハの時にぬいぐるみを置いておくかとかいう話は、していたんですけど、本当にねマジに受け取られると困るんで、やりませんですけど、福崎さんコメントございますか？
So I guess one of the things that he talked about, like in games, like if I try to make too many adjustments or too many changes, I'll have a stuffed animal in my place in the next broadcast because he won't be able to appear because he's going to be working too hard. It's like that almost happened, but it's okay.
期間中だと、下岡さんとかと一言も話せなかったんで、
なかなかね。
どちらかというと、そう偉い人たちは全く知らない状態で、俺はやりたいって思ってるっていうのをあんまり言い過ぎると。何言ってんねんって怒られるかなと思って。
Yeah, look at some of the chat messages and also some of the comments coming.
大丈夫です。
こちらはですね、バランスの内容については、次のご紹介内容となりますので、もう少し後にまとめてお伝えをさせていただきます。ここからはですね、ネットワークテストでのデータ関連をご紹介をさせていただきます。まずはキャラクタークリエイト時のデータです。どうぞ。
ドン。
はい、知ってた。
知ってた速報。
Okay, so this is a character creation information. This is a number of players that made a male character versus a female character. So we have 25% male and around 75% female characters in the game.
女性タイプが圧倒的というところで、女性タイプが 75%、男性タイプ 25%。
まあここもね、
はい。
女性です。女性です。
ここもだし、
みんながみんなしてね。
なんだったらネットワークってネットワークじゃない、ブルプロ通信の時大体女性です。
そう。この間僕男にしましたけど。はい。
They're saying even in their own broadcast, developers themselves also have been using a lot of female characters. In the last broadcast, they had a male character as well, but it seemed popular.
女性キャラクターの比率が高くなるものなんで、まあそうだよねと皆さん納得いただけるデータかなと思っております。
Expected, as they were saying.
はい、お願いします。男性タイプのキャラクタークリエイトでの体型やパーツのデータと。
So this is looking at the male characters, character creation information, and amount of, say we have the main faces here, number of players that used the first one, second one, third one, so 50%, 25 or so for the other ones. For body type, small, medium, large, you have the percentages here. You have the heights for all of them. A lot of taller male characters, and also muscles or muscularity or whatever. 0 is just like your standard, so slimmer versus more muscular, or like I guess bigger body kind of.
なっております。顔立ちの一番人気は1。体型は S と L が近しい数字で人気だったという形です。身長は高い方が選ばれている数が多く、肉付きはデフォルトが最も多かったんですが、次いでガチムチ方面というですね、がっちりとした肉体の方のキャラクターが人気だったという形です。
Oh, I guess for the chat. Sorry about that. On the chat on the screen, it's just the
早くゲームに入りたいという方がすべて
the other chat, isn't it? Let's see if I can add one in.
なので、デフォルト選択率が女性よりも
ちょっとね
高いかなっていう傾向はあったりします。なので男性キャラクターの方がデフォルトで選択されているイージスファイター率が高いとかね、そういったところで若干影響はしているデータとなっております。
後でね変えられることもありますしね。ここはちょっと先に。
Here, so now we got both chats.
はい。次にですね、紙とカラーのタイプとなっております。こちらもですね、やはりデフォルト選択の割合も影響はしていそうなんですけど。
Next one, so we got some other part types. We have the hair types, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and I have all the numbers down here as well. And also the colors chosen. So a lot of, I think the bottom one is like kind of like a gray, so it can be either white or black. It's pretty popular, and also some maybe like the brown.
1番、8番、11番の髪型ですね。で黒髪が圧倒的に多かったというデータとなっておりました。
髪もね後で変えられるっていうのは、ツートンオン意外に
そんなでもないですね。
もっと染めてよ。わかんないけど、黒がいいっていうのもね当然あります。はいはい。
はい、では次です。女性タイプのキャラクタークリエイトでの、体型やパーツのデータという形となります。
All right, and here's the female characters. So we also have the faces again, the height, the body type, small, medium, large, slim versus plumper for here, and also the breast sizes. There was a lot of people choosing, I guess, the larger breasts as well. And then also just some of the other ones kind of in the middle there.
一番人気は2番ですかね。身長はデフォルトと、低身長よりが人気だったという形です。体型も S サイズが圧倒的人気という形となっておりました。肉付きはデフォルトが最も選択されているんですが、なぜに比べて、両側ですね、そこそこ選ばれているという印象
So there's like pretty good variation. For slimmer, like a plumper kind of characters. And then the breast size.
そうですね。3と6がダントツの人気ですね。片目が隠れた
こういう子ね
ですかね。はい。あとは
こういう子ねって言って。
All right, and here's the other thing. So the hair types. We have, what is it, number 3 and 6 are very popular. So that one and this one are very popular. Followed by 11 or so. The ponytail, I guess.
真ん中に髪がこうね入ってる。
はい。カールが先端にかかったようなロングヘアと。
13 and 14 are barely being used, it looks like.
はですね、女性タイプも黒髪人気が高かったようです。男性タイプに比べると様々なカラーを使われる方が多いという形になっていましたが、
So it seems like compared to the male characters, there's a lot more variety to the colors.
紫色みたいに近い色は男性タイプではあまり選択されなかった色となって
I guess maybe some more like purples and whatnot for female character hairs compared to the male character. Maybe influenced by popular anime characters or something.
キャラクターの方が比較的いろんな色を使われているという傾向が高かったかなと思っています。
チムチ黒ってかっこいいし。
そうですね。はい。
そういうのもあるかもしれないね。
肌に。はいね。はい。ではですね、次がクラス分布のデータとなります。お願いします。はい。
これすごいよね。
はい。
So class
レベル1、レベル10、レベル20のそれぞれ
So this is for level 1 classes, level 10, and level 20. Seems to be a pretty good distribution for them, though the Aegis Fighter or the Blade Warden looks to be the most popular. Or I guess at least getting to the higher levels. Beginning levels, it's all pretty distributed. Because maybe everyone just kind of like switched classes once to try it out, which would make sense that it would even out. Other ones, yeah, as you get higher up, looks like, yeah, the Blade Warden had the highest amount of level 20s.
このデータは最終的なデータなので、そのレベルにいる割合というものなので、
So number of players who made it to that level,
クラスが変わったよというデータではございません。はい。レベル1ではかなり均等に選択をされているという感じです。開発的には
I think they were saying like the final results. Let me jump back a second.
なった時にクラスが変わったよっていうデータでは ございません。はい。レベル1ではのデータとなります。お願いします。はい。
これすごいよね。
はい。レベル1、レベル10、レベル20のそれぞれのレベルにおけるクラスの割合を示したものとなっております。このデータは最終的なデータなので、そのレベルにいる割合というものなので。
So they said it's like the final state of the data, so the players at that
レベ
level.
ル1の人がレベル20になったときにこうクラスが変わったよっていうデータではございません。はい。レベル1ではかなり均等に。
So yeah, for level 1, it's very distributed.
嬉しい限りじゃないですかね。
前にほらブループロ通信でやった時もね、大体同じぐらいで拮抗してましたもんね。
でちょっと多分スペルキャスターが少ない分はソロきついよって
言っちゃったこともちょっと影響してるかもしれないですね。
はい。レベル10はアルティメットスキルを覚えるところと、レベル20はネットワークテストでの最大。
So at level 10 is when you get your ultimate skill, and level 20 was the max level for the network test.
いうところでは変動がほぼないかなという形ではあるんですけど、レベル1と比較するとレベルが高い方の方がイージスファイターの割合が多く
徐々に増えているようにも。
So as you move up, it looks like the Blade Warden
レベル20までとか
is a larger percentage of the higher level.
思ってる人にイージスファイターが多かったのかな。
So maybe a lot of the harder core players or the players that played longer were playing the Blade Warden.
テスト時の期間とバランス、またクラスチェンジも可能です。限られた時間の中で
Yeah, so out of these icons, you have the Blade Warden, Twin Striker, Keen Strider, Spell Weaver, and the Foe Breaker, right?
とかを試された方も多くいらっしゃいましたので、人気クラスデータそのものみたいなものではないんですけど、皆様が選択されたクラスの割合としてのご紹介となっております。
はい。ちなみにですね、レベル20に到達された方の割合が、6.2% ということで、
全体のですね。
これ
I think you're saying, was it the number of players that made it up to level 20 was 6.2%?
というレベル20に到達された方の割合が、6.2%。
Oh yeah, so 6.2% of the players made it to level 20.
これ想定よりもどうかっていうのはありますけど、3日間という非常に短い中でね、すごいなという。
So for that short period, it seems like it's pretty impressive that a lot of players made it at that point.
はい。ではですね、次はネットワークテスト時にプレイ可能な範囲の中で、いわゆるエンドコンテンツ、ネットワークテストで最大プレイできる範囲の、コンテンツとなっていたラッシュバトル2段と始まりの塔についてです。始まりの塔は全プレイ。
So the number of players that were able to participate in the Tower of Beginnings, 4.6% of the players participated in this, and there was a clear rate of around 80.2%. And as for the rush battle, 3.7% of all players were able to participate in it, and the clear rate of 95.8%. So a pretty low percentage of the players, I guess, got to this point, because I think you needed a pretty high battle score.
プレイヤーのうち 4.6% の方が挑戦でき、クリア率は約 80%。ラッシュバトル2段は 3.7% の方が挑戦し、クリア率は 95.8% となっていました。こちらもやはり限られた時間の中でここまで到達するのが難しかったと言える数値ではありますね。はい。クリア率を書いているんですけど、挑戦された方をユニークで見た場合には、クリア者数ではどちらも90% 以上という形ではありましたので、参加できたよという方はほとんどクリアができたという形でございました。
As for the number, the players that did participate in this, most of them were able to clear it at this point.
短い時間でバトルスコア上げるのは相当難しかったのかな。
So it seems like a lot of players were having difficulties raising their battle score in such a short amount of time.
はい。では最後になりますが、クラフトされたバトルイマジンのデータとなります。クラフトされたバトルイマジン数を母数としたデータ。
So these were the battle imagine that were crafted during network test. And I guess the lower level ones were crafted at a higher rate, and as you get up to the higher level ones, like it was the Predator thing right here and whatnot, you're getting to lower 0.82% versus the pink Uribo, which was at 34%, because like the first thing I think it required crafting.
このため割合としては入手順に並ぶようなデータとなっているかなと 思います。まあ注目としてね。
That's around the order that you get the things.
これねでも本当にまず猫できた人。
I guess the cat. I think that was from like one of the hidden quests. I didn't get around to it this time, but there was it looks pretty low rate of people who crafted the cat. I think that was the hidden quest craft. So maybe that's why it was so low.
猫で作っていただいた方、まああと山賊ネズミとかを持って作ったとかは、まあそもそも入手難易度がまあめちゃくちゃ高いですからね。
はい。まあ正直作られるとは思ってなかったなっていうところが。
So for a lot of these, it seems like some of them where they weren't expecting players to be able to make it at this point or be able to get it.
そうですね。だからそう考えるとプレデター以上のここに書いてあるネズミ、鉄が猫あたりは猫ねできた人いる？いた？いる
？You're asking like how many people are like making the cat and whatnot, I think.
まあまたね始まったらこれ探してみてください。はい。
以上がですねネットワークテスト結果のご報告でございます。はい。では次のプログラムに参りたいと思います。
Okay, moving on to the next
テ
topic
スト後の調整についてとなりま
about
す。
adjustments
では
for after the test.
アドベンチャーボードのことでしょこれ。
He's talking about the adventure board. Like a adventure board.
ありますからまだそれはちょっと最後の方に。
So he's going to talk about that near the end.
はい、わかりました。
So moving forward.
ですね、テストの初日から皆様のプレイデータだったりとか SNS 含むご反応、ご意見を確認させていただきまして、今後の調整について、検討を行ってました。まあ、途中まで福崎もプレイしてたんですけど、途中からブラッカーでプレイほっといてレポートまとめてもっとこうしたらいいんじゃないっていうレポートまとめたりをしていたので、その辺の、それが今結構最終的に、どういうふうな方向に持っていくかっていうところを、ちょうどお話しさせていただければなと思います。はい、ではスライドの方お願いします。
Alright, so I'm going to bring up the slide about the changes they're planning.
まずですね、フィールドでの、ヒットポイント自動回復の導入、ヒットポイント回復リソースの調整および、安全地帯の設定追加設定内不具合修正となります。
So they're going to be making some changes to HP recovery. So natural HP regen in the field areas. They're going to make some adjustments to HP recovery resources. And also make some bug fixes to the safe areas. Maybe they weren't so safe for some players or something.
具体的にはですね、納刀および、非戦闘状態で、ヒットポイントの、自然回復する機能を導入いたします。また、その上で、座ると、回復量上昇で、キャンプや集落だと、さらに回復量というか回復スピードが上昇。
Alright, and they're saying if you sit down, what is it? So if you have your weapons stored and you're out of combat, you'll recover HP. And then also if you sit down, your HP recovery goes faster. And then if you're at a camp or a village area, HP recovery goes even faster.
入れて、調整として入れております。で、これに伴って、ピンクリボーとかアーチャーの回復スキル、あとポーションもなんですけども、そういった、リソースを使うもの回復に関しては、戦闘中の、緊急回復の、意味を、強く持たせてますので、そうなるように、調整の方をかけております。
And as for the pink Uribo, which is like the healing small pink boar summon you could get, and also the archer recovery skills, you're going to be raising the healing amount, looks like. And also at the item shop, you're going to reduce the price of the healing item.
で、合わせて、道具屋の回復薬のルーノも
It was at a crazy price. It was around like 4,000 Luno or something, which is like all your savings at the beginning of the game.
そうですね。まあやっぱりね、パーティーだと回復していただいたりとか、モノラのね回復をいただくことあったけど、そうじゃないときやっぱキャンプに帰ったりとかね。
そうですね。
それでちょっと持ってる人と持ってない人の差が。
継戦能力というか。
So he said there's a big difference between people that were in parties or out of parties. So I guess if you're in a party, you could have somebody that healed everyone. But if you aren't, if you were like, I don't know, like a solo class, it may be a lot more difficult to heal. So that's probably why they were making these adjustments.
やっぱりアーチャーとそれ以外のところの差がここは ちょっと大きくて、
there was a big
その
difference between the Keen Strider versus other classes, since the Keen Strider was so easily able to heal themselves.
埋めるためっていうのと、あとはあれですね。
Trying to close that gap.
ちょっとずつ削られていくと、やっぱり回復するためにキャンプにとか町さんに帰らなきゃいけないっていうところもあって、なかなかちょっと思い切った行動が取りにくいかな。
And also, I guess you kind of get whittled down over time, and having to go back to camp made it kind of difficult to play as you wanted. So just make it, I guess, more convenient for the players, better quality of life.
例えばまとめ狩りとかちょっとリスクのある行動だとは思うので、その辺が取りにくくなってたよねっていう部分もあって、そういったところ
It was harder to take maybe riskier actions, taking on multiple enemies at a time, if you had to worry about going back to heal.
ヒットポイント減ったらその後、しばらく採取するなり、まあ一旦ちょっと安全地帯で座るなりっていうところを、
But now you'll be able to, instead of having to go back to camp, you could always just go gathering for a little bit or sit down in a safe area or something.
イメージして、導入の方をしようと思っております。で、ただ、ですね、フィールドおよび、自由探索ですね。はい。で、アクションゲームとしてはヒットポイントの回復リソースが無制限になってしまうとバランス調整とかがだいぶ難しくなりますので、ミッション内でのヒットポイントに関しては、これまで通り姿勢回復はせず、出撃金だったりとかサプライヤーとかで、は、がだいぶ難しくなりますので、ミッション内でのヒットポイントに関しては、これまで通り姿勢回復はせず、出撃金だったりとかサプライヤーとかで、バランスの方を、取る形に。
Okay, and they said, as for missions though, since that would affect balance a lot for how missions work, there's not going to be natural HP recovery in those areas, since you have limited healing items in there. So they didn't want to affect the balance with natural HP recovery in the missions.
出ていただきます。で、安全地帯にですね、まあ主にベルクマール
ほぼですね。
はい。あそこに関して、まあ本来シナリオ進行があるエリアで、インタラクトをしなくてはいけないエリアに関しては、安全地帯が、設定されていて、キャンプだったり村と一緒で、エネミーが入ってくると、帰っていくっていう、はい、そういうエリアが設定されてたんですけど、ちょっとそこがちょっと動作してなくてですね、どちらかというとちょっとこれは不具合なので、そこに不具合を。
So I guess there was also a bug with like maybe one of the safe zones in particular where usually what they were planning is if an enemy like enters that like safe area, the enemy should just go back or leave or not, I guess, attack players and whatnot in that area. But there was some kind of problem. Maybe the enemy would just go in there and attack players at like a safe camp or something.
また、それ以降のシナリオ部分とかにおいても、同様のところはないかっていう確認も改めて行ってます。
So I guess one area along with like the main like story or something, a safe area that had a problem with enemies entering it.
はい。では、次のスライドお願いします。はい。全ネームドエネミーの、ヒットポイント減少、攻撃力上昇と、追加調査ミッションにおける、現物ドロップ率の上昇となります。
Okay, so for all named enemies, they're going to reduce their HP and increase their attack. So the named enemies were like the kind of like the field bosses that would appear and everyone would kind of try to attack them, right? So probably one of the issues is it just had a lot of HP and people were just wailing on it forever. And it didn't have like, I guess, much risk. So they were going to reduce the HP so it can die quicker, but give it a little bit more risk with the increasing its attack, I'm guessing. And then also with the additional investigation missions, so like going back to the dungeons, they're going to increase the, I guess, drop rates.
ネームドモンスターはですね、適正レベル適正装備で、例えば何人とか。
Yeah, the named enemies, they're like the ones that appear on the map. Kind of like, I guess, elite monsters or field bosses or whatever you want to call them. Everyone would group up to try to take them out.
プレイの方を拝見させていただいていて、ちょっとこちらの意図通りにはちょっとなっていない。こっちの意図よりも全然早い段階で、どうしても
見えるとね、
そうですね、
叩きに行きたくなっちゃいます。
でどうしても走っていてやっぱり殴りたくなってしまうので、そこで殴って、やっぱりレベルも装備も足りてないので、すごく時間がかかる。で、
ダメージは通んないけど死にもしない。
そうですね。だから、ネームのエネミーが、適正レベル適正装備に達していなかったら強い だったら別に良かったんですけど、単純に食らうこともなく単純に硬くて、長引いていたので。
Yeah, so they're just basically saying that the named enemies were basically just damage sponges that didn't do much damage. So they didn't do much damage, but it took forever to kill them.
ところに関しては、ヒットポイントの減少をする、ちゃんと合わせてもう一回ちょっと、ヒットポイントの調整をするのと、ちゃんと強く、なんだろうな、緊張感を増す部分も含めてエネミー側のちょっと攻撃力も上げる調整の方を行っております。で、ネームドエネミーだと発生した時に、プレイヤーさんがバーって集まってくるので、ネームドエネミーの攻撃力が上がったことによって、死にやすくはなるんですけど、いっぱい人いるので周りに。それを蘇生して回るのもコミュニケーションとしては全然ありだよねとは思っているので。
So they figured, oh, by raising the attack, probably more players are also going to die because of that. But since you're with a lot of players around you, so reviving the other players is also a part of the gameplay. So it's just, they can think of that as just a different like gameplay style then when fighting these. They're making some final adjustments still for how much HP will be decreased or attack will be increased, but
ただあまりにちょっとネームのモンスターが討伐されるのが早すぎるとですね、今度はこうチャレンジが発生したのを見て、はい、走っていく。
But they don't want these to be taken out too quickly as well, because if these like appear on the map and they die instantly, that would also be a problem. So they're looking for a fine-tuning the balance. Probably try to make them a little bit more interesting, but not so damage spongy.
で、ミッションにおける現物ドロップに関してはちょっとテストでは、データから見る限り、ミッションに行く回数自体
They haven't said anything about new classes yet.
っていう部分も影響してるんですけども、それでもデータ的に、ドロップした回数自体がちょっとあまり、少ない、ちょっと少ないかな。
Let me jump back. They're talking about the drops and the
ミッションに行く回
missions.
数自体があまり、関してはちょっとテストでは、データから見る限り、ミッションに行く回数自体があまり、こちらの想定より多くなかったっていう部分も影響してるんですけども、それでもデータ的に、ドロップした回数自体がちょっとあまり、少ない、ちょっと少ないかなっていうのをデータからも出てはいるので、ちょっとドロップ率を上げて、喜びだったり楽しいって感じられる瞬間をもっと、増やそうと思って。
So I think for these like mission drops, these are like for like inside the dungeons. I think these are like the actual drops from like enemies. And it seems like they were lower than they were expecting from the enemy drops. These would include things like, I guess, weapons and stuff being dropped in the missions, I would believe. I got a drop once while I was playing, but maybe those kind of drops were lower than they were expecting, so they wanted to give a little bit more things to look forward to when going through like missions and things like that.
はい。ということで、
はい。なんかコメントありますよ。ネームの方々。ネーム
の方々。そうですね。場所はね、マップで出てるんですけど、なかなかね、出ちゃうと言っちゃうから、それに対しての対応をしていくっていうことだと思います。そうですね。
属性バーストが入り出すレベルになると、ちょっと。
Yeah, the weapons would drop from as a rare drops in the missions, the dungeon missions. You could also get like the battle imagine as rare drops as well.
ですからそれでもやっぱり HP は高いかなっていう感じですね。
ちょっと全体的に。
あとソロで戦ってるとどうしてもパーティーチェーンとかの恩恵は受けづらいですからね。その辺も加味した、調整になるというふうに思っております。
はい、では、次のスライドをお願いします。
Next slide.
はい、検討中の狙われやすさの修正と、各クラスの能力調整となります。
All right, so they're going to be talking about, I guess, the aggro system. So, so adjusting, I guess, how often you're targeted in battle. So I guess the aggro, or however you want to call it, system, they're going to be making some adjustments to, and then adjustments to all the different classes, and they have information down here.
狙われやすさの方なんですけども、テスト期間中、特にネームドモンスターとの戦闘などにおいて、マウントなど通りすがりの人にターゲットが飛んでいってしまうっていう状態が発生。
So, I guess there was some issues with enemies targeting players on mounts, like running by, like just like you're fighting something and a player on a mount will run by and they're like, well, I'm gonna go attack that person instead, and they would leave, they would run off. So I guess there was issues with the aggro system where it would just like target new players randomly.
ありましたので、修正の方を行いました。まあ途中から入ってきた人の平定がちょっと強めに乗ってたので。
So I guess it had there was a high amount of aggro level for new players that were entering the combat. So like I was saying, if a player would run by on a mount, the monster would be like, okay, going after him now, and just leave. So you'd be chasing after somebody on a mount.
で、またテストではレベル20まで触っていただいたんですけれども、主にイージスファイター、ツインストライカー、スペルキャスターの序盤の火力が低いと感じられることがあります。
All right, so this is about class balances. Let's take a step back and listen to this.
ではレベル20まで触っていただいたんですけれども、またテストではレベル20まで触っていただいたんですけれども、主にイージスファイター、ツインストライカー、スペルキャスターの序盤の火力が低いと感じられることがありましたので、全体的に
So Aegis Fighter.
いただいたんですけれども、主にイージスファイター、ツインストライカー、スペルキャスターの序盤の火力。
Yeah. So okay, so you played the classes up to level 20 during network test, and there was a few of them in particular. The Blade Warden, the Twin Striker, and the Spellweaver in particular felt like they were weak early on.
が低いと感じられることがありましたので、全体的にちょっと火力面のアッパー調整をかけよう。
So we're gonna make some adjustments to buff these. Maybe for the early on, I don't know if it affects late game or not, but at least to make the early game feel better, which is a good thing. Because I played the Spellweaver myself, but I also heard players talking about the Twin Striker having low damage, or the Blade Warden as well, so that's nice to hear.
で、各クラスには、まあ、この主要調整内容のところに、
Let's see if there's like any comments as well. I guess, these are still going for the main thing.
イージスファイターはですね、まあ主にちょっとヘイト取りにくい部分で、もう少しレベルが上がってくると、狙われやすさを上げるスキルだったりとか、まあ、アビリティだったりとかっていうのが、どんどん上がっていって、ヘイトを取りやすくなっていくんですけども、どうしても序盤だとスキル能力が低いので、ターゲットを奪うことができない部分が、どうしてもあった。
Okay, so as for the Blade Warden, later on you're able to take aggro better, so you're able to act as a tank more efficiently. But earlier on, you don't have all the, I guess, skills or skill levels or the abilities kind of set yet. And I guess the power of like the aggro generation for your class isn't at that point yet. So it was hard to act as a tank. And I had heard like reviews of the Keen Striders and whatnot just being the main targets. You would be constantly chasing after them, and the Blade Warden wasn't able to act as a tank. But so it looks like they're going to be making some adjustments to that.
で、このため、もともとカウントとか、狙われやすさを上昇する、スキルがあったんですけども、そのスキルにですね、状態異常ですね、挑発っていう状態異常、強制的に一定時間ターゲットを自分に固定する、状態異常を追加して、強制的に、向かせられるように、ヘイトと無関係にちょっと向かせられるようにする、ふうに、スキルの調整の方をかけております。
So they did have like a taunt kind of skill before, but they're adding a new status to go along with this. So like a taunt status, where you force the enemy to attack you for a certain amount of time, which makes sense. You see this in a lot of games. So they're going to be having this, I guess, taunt skill. So you'd be able to force the enemies to attack you for while it's active.
挑発を持ってる、スキルがですね、まあ、2種類あるので、最初のうちヘイトをイージファイト自身がヘイトを稼ぐ能力が、まだ低いうちは、その辺のスキルで状態以上で、奪って、でだんだんヘイトを稼ぐ能力が上がってきたら、まあ、一つ減らしてその分を防御的な、スキルに入れたりとか。
So earlier on, while your ability to naturally generate aggro and get the enemies to attack you is low, you can force the enemies to attack you with these taunt skills. I think they said there's like 2 different skills that are going to be available. But later on, as you level up and you can naturally generate that aggro, you won't be needing to taunt as much. So then you can replace that with other skills.
攻撃的なスキルに入れたりとかっていう構成を、はい、考えるっていう余地が生まれてくるかなと思ってます。もちろん安定感を、重視するなら、 2種のままっていうのもありますし、まあ、その辺は、パーティー編成だったりとか含めて考えていただければいいかなと思っております。はい。なるほど。で、次が、ツインストライカーなんですけども、ヘビースマッシャーに比べて、手数を出していくアタッカーなんですけど、DPS が、低いと感じることが多かったので、大半のスキルのインターバルを、短縮し、かつ、スキルの威力自体も、上昇させて。
Alright, so as for the Twin Striker, despite being the like a DPS, supposedly a DPS class, it was weaker than the heavy smasher that was the foe breaker in regards to that. So they making some adjustments to make the Twin Striker act as more a DPS class. They're going to be decreasing the cooldown for a number, I guess, certain skills, and also a number of their skills are going to have increased damage. And also they're making some adjustments to the class ability Last Waltz. And this was a shared class ability that I covered in my last video, but this was one where you would do more damage below a certain health threshold. So we'll have to see how this changes.
これによってスキル回しをもっと高速に行えるようにっていう部分と、アビリティでラストワルツっていうヒットポイント3割以下でよだめ上昇っていうアビリティがあったんですけども。
So if you were below, I think 30% health, you'd be doing more damage.
ちょっとこれが、奴隷に持ってるツインストライカーのデザインと、あとは、ヒットポイント、パーティー組んでると、ヒットポイント回復してもらえるとか、そういうところの調整と、噛み合ってないので。
Oh yeah, this is also something I was kind of thinking about when I was reading this skill, but when you're in a party, you're going to have people naturally healing you. There's also the party chain that can cause a natural regeneration buff to appear. So you can, I guess, even if you're not healing yourself, indirectly through the party buff or directly through other party members, you'd be healed. So if you were trying to stay below 30% to activate this ability, that could be happening. And then you wouldn't be able to use this Last Waltz ability.
はい、これに関しては、そもそもラストワルツではなくて違うアビリティにします。ヒットポイント 7割以上でよだめが上がる。ヒットポイントが、マックスに近ければ、よだめアップっていう形に、調整の方を行う。
Oh, so I guess they're making it a slightly different ability. So now it's going to be if you're below, was it above 70% health? And as you're closer to max health, you're going to be dealing more damage?
で、まあ、ここのちょっとインターバル短縮なんですけど、まあ、どんくらいかっていうと、一番ちょっと分かりやすいのが、フォールインパクトっていう、まあ、飛び込んでドーンスキルがあるんですけども、あれのインターバルがネットワークテスト時点だと、確か12秒。ディキャストが12秒だったんですけども、調整後は6秒。
Oh, wow. So they were saying that as for some of the cooldown adjustments for the skills, there was one, I think, called like Fall Impact, where you would jump after the enemy with the Twin Striker, and he believed that the cooldown was around 12 seconds in the network test, and they're going to be cutting that in half to 6 seconds, so you'll be able to close the gap a lot more with Twin Striker. And I think that was also another problem where you didn't have enough gap closers, so you ended up having to run after enemies when other players were being targeted, so having another gap closer available.
半分です。なのでちょっとこの間手触り確認のちょっとテストプレイをしたんですけども、まあフォールインパクトでエネミに向かって飛び込んで通常攻撃入れてスキルを、一発叩き込んであたりでもうリキャストが終わるので、次のエネミに対してフォールインパクトで移動とかまたは逃げたりっていうこう感じの、ムーブが結構変わる。
So you'll be able to kind of do interesting things with the ability now with such a short cooldown. You can jump after an enemy, attack them, and by the time you're like done attacking them, like a couple times, you're going to have the cooldown again, so you could go to your next target or run away with the fall impact.
ね、で、これはほぼほぼ全クラスなんですけど、パッシブじゃないや、バフアビリティ、バフスキルですね。とかのリキャストとかもかなり早くはなっているので、その辺で結構。
And also generally for all classes, the buff abilities have been reduced quite a bit. Because there were pretty long cooldowns for a lot of the buffs. It'd be like a minute or longer for some of them.
はい、こんな感じでちょっとツインストライカーはもう本当に手数よりですね、ポンポンポンポンスキル出していく感じで。
そうだからヒット&エもしやすくなるし、張り付いて攻撃してパーティーでチェインの貢献しつつっていうところが まあ、よりやりやすくなったりするってことです。
Yeah, it looks like they're making a lot of good adjustments to these classes based on the feedback.
2回目を発動するみたいなのが増えていくクラスなので、まあ序盤はやっぱりそこを感じにくくて相対的に他のクラスより弱いみたいな状態があったのを、まあこの調整を行うことによって持ち上げるという感じですね。
そうですね。
ありがたい。
まあスキルの中には火力ですね。DPS 自体が高いのでリキャストはそのままで火力が出すスキルとかっていうのは残してはいるので、その辺は合わせてなんだろうな、ビルドの中で短いスキルと長いスキルを組み合わせたりとかっていうのも。
So now there's going to be a little bit more diversity among the skills as well, with some skills having shorter cooldowns and some having longer and more impactful. I guess longer cooldowns with more impact, maybe more damage and things like that. So you'd be able to kind of put together skills with different cooldown ranges. So you have, I guess, more skills available to use. That was another problem players were talking about, where they didn't have any. They would use all their skills and they would have to wait for a long amount of time to be able to do anything again with their skills.
これはですね、消費 EP を全体的に低減したので、根本的にポンポンもっとスキルが出せるようになってます。で、
Alright, and next up is the Spellweaver.
はい。で、スペルキャスターなんですけども、これはですね、消費 EP を全体的に低減したので、根本的に。
Alright, so overall, they're going to be reducing the EP costs for just about everything, which is good. So you'd be able to use more spells.
ポンポンもっとスキルが出せるようになってます。で、
And I guess for, what was it, like in the network test, you'd have like the Fire Blast skill, it would take up 35 or something EP and you only have 100, so you could use it twice and then you're okay, back to charging again. And it'd be like 1, 2, and then okay, wait a few more seconds, I need to charge back up. I think they're going to make it so you can do a few more things. You can use its skills more often, which is going to feel better.
分のスキルの威力上昇ですね。一番威力上昇があったのはブリザード。
ブリザードね。ちょっと弱かったですね。
And they're going to be increasing the damage of a number of the skills as well, which is also a problem with the Spellweaver, with so many of them barely doing any damage compared to, I guess, the basic like Fire Blast or Auto Attack. And the one that increased the most, they said, was the Blizzard, which is nice, because that was like a multi-hit spell that could do quite a bit of elemental gauge damage as well.
あれはちょっと属性蓄積値を強めだったりはするので、そっち方面のスキルであったり、あと
範囲かな。
そうですね、範囲のところもあったんですけど、ちょっと全体的に範囲をそうですね、若干過大評価しているかなっていう部分もあったので、単純に DPS スキルになるように調整の方を行っております。で、これで
So I guess they were kind of maybe was like over evaluating area of effect skills and their power. So they decided to kind of was to change them to have more just damage within themselves.
継戦能力と普通のダメージ量が上がっていく感じになりますね。で、ちょっとスペルキャスターもうちょっとこの間手触り確認はしたんですけども、コンセントレートっていうスキルがありまして、一定時間効果時間中、
持続
EP が持続回復で、それと、通常攻撃の後ろ発生、これも、EP 持続回復ですねの両方をつけてるとですね、ほぼほぼ、一部、火力によったスキルは、EP は消費減っていくんですけど、結構な技がですね EP 減らないんですよ。
And he said he was testing this out a little bit, but with having the concentrate skill, which is EP recovery skill, and also just the basic attack EP recovery skill, having those on would allow you to basically keep casting skills constantly. You nearly never run out of EP, which I think if it goes along with the reduced EP costs of skills, then you'd be able to use the skills more often, but also since their EP cost is reduced, the EP recovery has a larger impact on being able to use skills more often as well. So you'd be able to keep casting spells even longer with the EP recovery active.
一生打ち放題になるみたいな。
ライトニングとかずっとコンセントレートの期間中打ちっぱなしになれるみたいな、なんか定期的に大暴れタイムが来るみたいな。
So you'd be able to basically go on like a frenzy or like a berserk mode or whatever. Whenever you have that like EP recovery skill come back off cooldown, you can turn that on and just go crazy with your skills.
結構なっているので、 かなりちょっと暴れやすくなって楽しい感じにはなって
So it's feeling a little bit better now.
暴れると、ヘイトを確実にほぼほぼ奪ってしまう。
But if you go crazy with your skills like that, you're most likely to be targeted by the enemy, so you need to be careful about that as well.
奪っていってしまうので、その辺は強制的に、あれですね、挑発でターゲットを奪ったりとかっていう、感じで、フォローしていただければっていう感じになります。ソロだと結構相変わらずそれはEP 切れるまでは倒しきらないときつかったりするので、その辺は、パーティー含めて、確認していただければいいかなと思ってます。でブラストアーチャーとヘビースマッシャーの調整はあんまり多くはなくて、アーチャーは回復系のスキルのところもあるんですけど、あとヘビースマッシャーも、両方ともリキャスト短縮をしているスキルは、普通にあります。でただ、火力
So as for the Keen Strider and Full Breaker, there's no big changes to these, because these ones were the ones that players felt like were I guess the strongest during the network test. So they didn't need too many big adjustments to them. For the Keen Strider, there's going to be a few cooldown adjustments, so shorter cooldowns for a few of the skills. And also for the class action and tactical skills, more healing. So the class actions like your right click. So I think that was a little bit on the weak side for healing. I didn't get to test that out, but... And also, I guess, other tactical skills. I think this goes back in line with other healing adjustments they were making for the field areas where you're going to have natural healing recovery as well. So they're going to give more impact to these healing skills. And as for the Foe Breaker, certain skills are going to get some cooldown reductions. So overall, looks like they're going to be giving nearly all the classes cooldown reductions, because that was another one of the complaints from the network test, where it just felt like there was too much time in between skills waiting for them to come off cooldown. So it's going to give you more options to use in battle and make it a little bit more engaging.
回復系のスキルのところもあるんですけど、あとヘビースマッシャーも、両方ともリキャスト短縮をしているスキルは、普通にあります。でただ、火力面、ヘビースマッシャーは結構火力面は高めではあったので、その辺がちょっと整える部分をしたりとか、アーチャーに関しても、ちょっと完成度高かったので、やはり回復系のスキルの回復量とかのところを、整えるっていう形ぐらいに収めている予定です。
I think you're saying maybe make a little bit of adjustments to the Full Breaker damage, because that was pretty high overall. But
に関しても、ちょっと完成度高かったので、やはり回復系の火力面、ヘビースマッシャーは結構火力面は高めではあったので、その辺がちょっと整える部分。
Yeah, maybe make some fine tuning to the damage.
やはり回復系のスキルの回復量とかのところを、整えるっていう形ぐらいに収めている予定です。いずれにしても全体的に火力の底上げと、リキャストの、低減、よりポンポン出せるようにっていう方向で、調整の方をかけております。
Yeah, but overall, it looks like they're going to be raising up the level of the other classes to get more in line with these two, which is another good change. I'm feeling like seems like it's another thing that a lot of other players were asking for, just not weaken these other ones, but bring the other classes in line with these, and it's looking like what's going to happen.
はい。で、次のスライドお願いします。はい。エネミードロップ低確率素材のドロップ率上昇と、必ず特定素材が入手できる固定採取ポイントの配置です。
So increasing rare drop rates for, I guess, yeah, drops from enemies that have low drop. They're going to be increasing the drop rates for those. So they're increasing the drop rates for rare drops. And also, we're going to be adding some gathering points where you can always gather a certain type of material, it looks like. So maybe if you go to that gathering point, you know what you always get. It won't be random.
ゴブリンの牙を代表として、低確率素材についてなかなかドロップしないっていうご意見もいただきましたし、その結果、巨竜の爪痕自由探索で、ゴブリンが基本的に不利、出た瞬間にやられてしまう。で
Yeah, so as for these enemy drop rates, for like example, a lot of them, the materials used for crafting, for example, goblin claws or whatever, I think it was a goblin claws or something they were saying, but they had a low drop rate, so everyone would just kill the goblins as soon as they spawned. So as soon as the goblin popped up, everyone would just shoot it from a range and kill it, and the close range classes would have problems killing it. And then you need to kill a bunch of goblins to be able to get a chance to get the low drop rate item to be able to craft a weapon to increase your battle score to be able to progress in the story. So they're going to be fixing some of those main issues. So it's both for, I guess, a adventure board as well. Sometimes you need to do rare drops, or and also just crafting. So that kind of was a roadblock for a lot of players.
緩和をかけます。で、本作ですね、パーティーを組んで狩りに行っていただくことで、エネミーの討伐数だったり、ドロップの共有だったりとか、あとはソロでも一発入れることで、ドロップを共有できる、いわゆる横殴りの概念がない、
すべて共闘扱いみたいなね、
っていう仕様にはなってまして、でバランスとしてはどちらかというと、パーティーで狩りを行っていただくことでの、必要数だったりドロップ率を設定はしていたんですけれども、ただなんだろうな、例えばマッチングしてフィールドに出たりっていうゲームではないので、なかなかちょっとパーティーを組む必然性がちょっと薄い部分もあって、でなんだろうな、目の前に何人かいてもその人たちが残りいくつ欲しいのとかの共有もやっぱりできないので、ちょっとパーティーその場でパッとパーティーもなかなか組みにくいかなっていう部分もあり。
So it seems like a lot of their adjustments for the drop rates were based on being in a party. So I guess they were considering like maybe you would have like a full party of 6 or something to do these drops, but that's not really what happened with the natural flow of the game for a lot of players. They would just kind of go to that area and maybe they only need 1 drop or maybe they need 2. You don't really know what the players around you need, and you're not really in a party with them. If you're in a party, you're able to share drops that other players get when they kill an enemy. So it's like you'd share the experience and drops. But that didn't work out as much. So I guess them thinking they balanced a lot of things on being in a party, but there was a lot of players maybe acting solo or moving with like not acting in a party.
違いとかもあって、なかなかちょっと状況の違いによってパーティーが組みにくいっていう部分があったとは思っているので、いずれにしてもちょっとパーティー前提で調整をしていたんですが、フィールドカットに関しては、この辺のバランスは、ソロ前提のちょっとバランス調整の方を
So they're going to move some more of the adjustments to more solo-oriented play for drop rates and things.
その上で、さっき言った、パーティーでの、ドロップだったりとか、必要数の共有自体っていうのはそのまま残っているので。
But also they're going to leave the current party system in it as well. So if you want to get things even faster, still go in a party and you'll be able to share the drops and whatnot.
また、フィールドの採集に関してはですね、キノコですね。
And as for gathering the mushrooms,
俺もゲームの中でも言ってたんですけど、俺のヘイトがとにかくキノコに対して高くて。
Everyone was angry about the mushrooms.
やつ言ってましたよね、チャットでも。
キノコが出ないんですよね。欲しい時に限ってっていうのがあって、で、敵のドロップだったりとか、敵の対処数、敵を討伐する数って、さっきも言った通りパーティーを組んでるとちょっとブーストする要素があるんですよね。ブーストできる部分があるんですけど、少数、敵を討伐する数ってさっきも言った通りパーティーを組んでるとちょっとブーストする要素があるんですよね。ブーストできる部分があるんですけど、最終に関してはブーストできないんですよね。
All right. So he says, as for like getting things from like enemies, being in a party, you can kill more enemies quickly if you have to kill so many enemies, or you can get more drops quickly if you're in a party. But that doesn't apply to gathering. You don't get any boost for being in a party when you're gathering.
頑張るしかないので、そこに関してちょっと本当にランダムと戦うことになる。運が割と本当に。
So you're going to be battling with a random number generator here. So if you are very unlucky, you could be waiting a while to get the drops you need.
1個も取れない。だからあとどんぐらいかかんのよみたいなとか全
And you can't really guess how much more time it's going to take because it's just chance.
そこのところを固定で必ずこのアイテムが出るよっていうポイントを少数設けることによってここでは必ず採集できるよ。
So they're going to add some specific drop like gathering locations that will guarantee certain drops
が良ければもちろん、採集はできるよと。だから、
or guarantee certain materials, right?
最低保証ですよね。はい。最低でもどんぐらいかかるよ、どんぐらい経ったら終わるよねっていう計算が成り立つように、はい、その辺の、
So
配置の
having
方法
these set locations for certain materials, then you can know how long it's going to take. If I just go to these 3 locations, then I can get everything I need.
次のスライドをお願いします。
Next slide.
はい、これが多分まあ一番お待ちかねだと思うんですけども、
はい。
冒険者ランクによるレベルキャップの撤廃と、アドベンチャーボードの調整を
All right. So before we get into the adventure board, first up, they're saying that the adventure ranks level cap. So before in the network test, there was a level cap in place while you had for the adventure rank. So I think it was like adventure rank 2, you could only go up to level 10, and adventure rank 3, it was like up to level 15 or so. So you'd have to increase your adventure rank to increase your level. And if you got stuck maybe with like the low drop rates or problems with that, and you couldn't raise your adventure rank, your class level could get stuck. So you could be stuck at level 15 until you can do the rank up for the adventure rank. But they're getting rid of that. So you'll be able to, it looks like, just continue leveling up without regards to your adventurer rank.
行います。はい、テストにおけるほとんどのご意見はアドベンチャーボードの方に、集中しておりまして、ストレスがかなり高い状態であると考えております。ですので、このため、まず、いろいろ調整を行います。まず、冒険者ランクによるレベルキャップの撤廃を実施します。もともと冒険者ランクを上げたことによってインセンティブですね、楽しい要素として、設けていたんですけれども、解放による喜びよりも、まあ例えばクエストとかだとレベルキャップに達している状態でも、報告しなければ、報酬自体は、もらわずに取っておけるのでいいんですけど、アドベンチャーボードのお題自体は、ランクアップ試験にたどり着くまで、ゴールにたどり着くまでの間のマスの経験値が無駄になっちゃうっていうところがあって、その辺がちょっと、ストレスが高いっていう判断をして。
So I guess they were originally trying to give like maybe some like feeling of accomplishment for unlocking the new adventure rank, but like I can increase my level now. But there was a problem with until you get to the next adventurer rank, you could be stuck at a certain level and you'd be losing all the experience until you leveled up. So the amount of stress compared to the feeling of, I guess, accomplishment of getting the next adventure rank wasn't in a good balance. So they're just getting rid of that.
ちょっとこれに関してはまずレベルキャップを撤廃します。で、あとはあれですね、冒険者ランク試験が、想定としては、ランク試験のバトルに対してそれぞれ、お題というかテーマがありまして、そのテーマに沿った、エンハンスイマジンを装備すると楽になるよっていう、調整をしてたんですけれども、
Jump back again.
関してはまずレベルキャップを撤廃します。で、あとはあれですね、冒険者ランク試験が、想定としては、ランク試験のバトルに対してそれぞれ、お題というかテーマがありまして、そのテーマに沿った、エンハンスイマジンを装備すると楽になるよっていう、調整をしてたんですけれども、それを装備した上でも、なんだろう、敵が強くて倒せなかった時にランクアップできないので新しい装備のレシピが出ることもないですし、レベルキャップに引っかかっているのでよりレベルを上げることも
強くなることができない。
So that was a problem where, so you have the rank up exam, right, to increase your adventurer rank. And when you go into that, they expect you have maybe certain enhance imagine. So basically like your certain stats equipped to your character. And she'd be going in with a certain amount of power level. But even with those equipped, there was times when it would be difficult to defeat the enemy in the rank up exam. But without defeating that, you can unlock new equipment or like new enhance imagine. So you couldn't get better equipment. And then also you couldn't level up. So you couldn't level up and you couldn't get better equipment. You're kind of like stuck. I can't defeat this rank up exam. What do I do?
基本的にあれですね、ランクアップ試験がクリアできなかった時のセーフティーネットとしてレベルを上げたら。
So having this level as being able to raise your level still as kind of like a safety net is something they wanted to put in.
はい。で、ボード内課題を同時進行できるフリーマスの導入を行います。
So they're going to be adding a new thing to these adventurer boards. Before they had like these, they were connected by dots, and you'd have to do one. You'd have to do them basically in order. But they're going to be adding free spaces, basically, what you can do at the same time as other ones. So I guess maybe you can do them kind of, some of them out of order. It sounds like.
イメージが湧きにくいと思うので、先にちょっと、次のスライドの方をご覧ください。
They have a slide here. Okay, so let's take a look at this.
で、左側が全体的にネットワークテストの時の、ボードの設定で、右側が、新しくこういう風にしますよっていう、設定になっております。アドベンチャーボードは、ランクアップ用だったりとか、武器、エンハンスイマジン用などに分かれてますので、それぞれの例となっております。線でつながってない部分が、フリーマスで、フリーマスはすべて同時に判定が行われますので、同時並行が可能になっております。ランクアップボード
So I guess how it's going to work here is the ones that are...
線でつながってない部分が、フリーマスで、フリーマスはすべて同時に判定が行われますので、同時並行が可能になっております。
Okay, so the ones outside that aren't connected to anything can be performed basically in any order. So you can do these, yeah, basically in any order at the same time. So you'd be able to do multiple of them at the same time. Before they were connected like this, so you'd have to do this one, and then that one, and then this one, and then that one, and then you could go here, but now you could go straight to the end, and then do these other ones out of order. And there are some other things right here. So this is some changes to make the adventure boards a little bit more smooth.
ランクアップモードでは、チュートリアル的な内容も含まれるために、ツリーの部分では同時並行で進められなくてもストレスになりにくいお題だったりとか、クエストの、何個達成とかそういう部分だったりミッション達成などをメインの課題とする予定となっております。
Let me jump back a little bit. Pick up this.
ツリーの部分では同時並行で進められなくてもストレスになりにくいお題だったりとか、クエストの、何個達成とかそういう部分だったりミッション達成などをメインの課題とする予定となっております。で、武器ボードでは、ミッションで獲得する必要のある素材以外をボードコンプリートで、入手できるようにします。で、なので
So as for like the weapon board, here's like a board for weapon materials. You'd be able to get to rare materials right at the like start. And be able to get like, I guess, materials like outside of the...
レア素材の部分をスタート地点の報酬にしたりとか、
Yeah, so you'd be able to get a rare...
スムーズに作成できるように変更の方をかけております。
Yeah, be able to get just materials a little bit easier.
ミッションに行ってくださいっていう部分になりますね。で、エンハンスイマジンも同様にレア素材をフリーマスでやってツリーマスに配置します。
And they're also adding some, these are like rare materials marks they have here for enhance imagine boards as well. So you'd be able to get some of the rare materials needed to craft these outside more easily.
で、コンプリートでクラフトができるように、装備ボードに関しては、そのボードがコンプリートした時点で、クラフトが可能になるように。
Oh, and they're making it so once you complete these boards now, you'd be able to craft that item at the point of completion. Before it was if you completed them, you still had to gather some rare materials. So you would be left with getting a few of the rare materials from like these adventurer boards, but you'd still have to fight monsters for foxtails or goblin claws or whatever to get the materials. But now if you complete this, you'll be able to make the item to enhance imagine or the weapon.
イメージして、作っておりますっていう調整を行いながら、同時に他の調整を行っております。ではちょっと元の方を戻して、はい。で、進行中にできるボード数の増加の検討ですね。で、
They're also looking at increasing the number of adventure boards you can have active at once. In the network test, you could only have, I think it was like 5 boards active, which at the beginning, it's not too much of an issue, but as you get more and more, you could have like 10 or 15, I don't know how many boards there, and then you'd have to like choose and pick, like which one do I want to have active right now? And it could get pretty annoying to look through all the various tasks and try to get the ones that are similar going on.
お題の数ですねのところが、サーバー側のちょっと処理負荷と関係しているため、ちょっとこれを無制限にするとか上限撤廃するっていうのはちょっと難しい状態。
But it seems like the number of of these like tasks that can be active at once is also linked to server load. So they're not able to make it infinite. If they made it infinite, it looks like there'd be server issues. So they're going to be looking at the balance between their server functionality and I guess player quality of life for increasing the number of boards you can have active.
現在、この辺の、改修をかけて上で、ちょっと内部的に、処理負荷の、検証の方を、ちょっと実施してますので、実際に今ちょっといくつとはちょっと今明言できないんですけども、進行中にできるボード数に関しては、増加を行う予定と、しております。
どのボードのさらにどのお題ってあって今回フリーマスが増えるんで、どれをやってるかっていうのが同時進行ですごい数になるんですよね。だからそういうのもあってそこら辺が、この内部検証というところになると思います。
I guess also with the addition of those like the free spaces, the number of these like tasks on the board that you can be doing at once would be increasing quite a bit because you'd have multiple free ones that could be done in any order. And also if they increase the number of boards you could have active, it could be like a large list of tasks going on all at once. And it seems that it would have has some effect on their server functionality as well. So they're going to be taking that into account while making adjustments.
で、同時にですね、課題の内容、課題数、課題内の要求数の、低減、最終だったり討伐だったりの、何個取ってこい、何体倒せっていうところの、調整も行います。で、合わせて課題達成した時の報酬内容の、追加だったりとか、先ほど言った通り、装備のボードに関してはコンプリートすることで、クラフトが可能なように、素材を入手できるようになります。で、ただ、ですね、メインシナリオ進行中に、装備することが必須だったりとか、この辺は装備を作らないといけないよねっていうボードに関しては、こんな感じで、必ずクラフトができるような形で、作っていくんですけれども、ゲームの終盤とかですね、メインシナリオ終わった後だったりとかっていうところに関しては、やり込み要素の部分に関しては、この限りではなくて、なかなか、時間かけたりとかっていうところで、ボードの方の調整の方を行っております。
そうですね。そもそもやるのがね、楽しい系のボードを増やしていきたいっていう意図で、逆にこう、ストーリー楽しんでいただきたいのにストッパーなってるみたいなものは、どんどん、調整で排除していきたいっていう。
All right, I guess they want to make it a little bit easier to kind of just go through the story if you want and not being able to be stopped by some of the things, but also make the boards a little bit more fun as like things you can kind of do on the side, or maybe like after you complete some of the main things, you could go back and do boards or clear things like that. So it looks like they're just trying to improve the quality of life for a lot of these things. Also, like with getting more, I guess, rewards from the boards and also being able to, craft the weapons by completing the boards. Yeah, increasing the number of rewards and whatnot.
コンテンツに関しては、今回の調整の対象外、やっぱりやり込み要素っていう部分を、入れている形となります。
あと結構見たんですけど、自分もそう思うし、マウントに乗りながら結構マウントやっぱ便利で、ほぼ常に乗ってるような状態だったんですけど、乗りながらの採取ってどうですか？
ゲーム内でも一回ちょっと。
So he's going to be asking about riding the mount while gathering.
これ福崎のもコメントさせていただいたんですけれども、
それも言ったの？
はい、これに関しては、起乗しながらの採取はご意見も多く頂戴してますので、ちょっと今、裏でちょうど検証の方を始めている状態です。でちょっと、サービスインまでだとちょっと苦しいかなっていう感じではありますので、ちょっとアップデートでの対応内容として今実装に向けて調整の方を行ってます。
All right, so it may be a little bit difficult to have it available by launch, but they're currently looking at being able to gather while on a mount and getting prepared for perhaps a future update after the game launches. So another quality of life feature, and this one will be coming a little bit after the launch, it looks like.
なるほど。今後のね、放送の中でロードマップいつになるかとかが、その中で含まれてくるっていうことですかね。
そうですね。ロードマップがお話しできるときにいつのアップデートで実装できるかっていうところをお伝えできるように準備進められればと思っております。で、今回ネットワークテストをやったことでいろいろちょっと、ご意見いただいて今回こういう調整を、かけさせていただいたんですけれども、 ちょっと今後も、量の多い少ないやることの大きい小さいは、いろいろあるとは思うんですけれども、
チャイムが
鳴ってますね。
皆さんに聞こえるか分かりませんが、バンダイナムコオンラインのオフィスではこの時間にチャイムが鳴っておりますので、今チャイムを鳴り待ちをしてます。
So at their studio, at the Bandai Namco studios, they have a chime that I guess rings at that time, so they're waiting for that to stop.
もう大丈夫。はい。
で、こういう状態は今後も行っていきますので、引き続きご意見など、いただければ嬉しく思います。リリース後も変わらずご意見いただければと思いますし、ですかね。
まあね、何でもかんでもやるわけじゃないですけど、
そうですね。
今回もあくまでネットワークテストっていう、重きではあったけど、やはりそこで
データ的にはちょっと良くないねってところは見えたので、
データも見たし、お客さんの声も。
All right. So, and what we're talking about here is that through the network test, they were able to get a lot of feedback, and they're making a lot of changes based on that. So going forward as well, they're happy to keep listening to their players and getting feedback, and they won't be making adjustments to everything. It's not like they're gonna change everything that players ask for, but for certain things, especially like in a network test, they saw some areas that were bad or could be improved. So they're making adjustments to those, and they're hoping to do similar things in the future.
だったということで、チームとしてはしっかり対応するって、今後も続けていくべきことだと思っておりますので、
ゲーム内に必要な要素としてハードルは設けてなくて、でそのハードルを超えたらこういうふうに楽しいよね、嬉しいよねっていう部分で、ちょっとストレスがかかるよねっていう部分とかはこっちの想定している部分なので、そういったところは言われたからってそんなに下げるつもりはないんですけれども、そういう設計にしたつもりないんだけどとか、そういうハードルにしたい意図があったわけじゃないんだけどっていうところはこちらとしても不本意なので、どちらかというと調整ミスに近いので、そういうところはやっぱり今後も、調整かけていきたいですし。
Alright, he's saying for some of the things in the game, for example, there are some things that are intentionally made to be a difficult or like a hurdle, so you feel accomplished when you're able to like clear it or get past a certain stage in the game. But for other things, they didn't plan for, like, for example, they didn't plan to have something be so difficult or to require so much time or something like that, and that could just be I guess a planning error on their end where they had the numbers wrong or something like that. And for those areas, they want to fix those. So if it's intentional, then they're most likely going to keep it as is. But if it is unintentional, where things are being a lot more difficult than what they had originally planned, they'll make adjustments to that.
新しい要素を入れたときにどうなんっていう部分はやっぱりあったりはすると思うんですよ。でそれを調整しながらより良いものにしていく部分であったりとか、でそれが調整どうにもならないならじゃあごめんって言って撤廃するわとか、そんなのぐらいですら、
周辺をね、調整するっていうこともあるでしょうし、それそのものっていうこともあるでしょうし、
っていう部分はやっぱりどんどんこれからもやっていきたいとは思ってますので、今回ネットワークテストをやっていろいろご意見いただいたものを追い風にじゃないですけど受けてこういう調整とかをかけてますので、今後ももろもろご意見いただければ集める機会とかも作りたいなとは思ってますので、今後もテストあるとかじゃないですよ。それ例えばあれこれ捉えるかなと思うけど、またネットワークテストがあるとかそういう話ではないですよ。はい。
Are you saying that they're hoping to get more feedback in the future as well, and maybe they'll have some opportunities for players to get feedback like that, but they're not saying there's going to be another test or anything like that. So it's not like they're going to be holding another test. It's just that they're looking for more feedback in the future as the game continues on. So even like after the game launches, they're still open to feedback and making improvements for the game.
はい、よろしくお願いします。
はい、というところで本日お伝えしたかった内容は以上となっております。ここで次回についてのご案内をさせていただければと思います。
はい、今回ですね、番組冒頭でお伝えさせていただいた通りですね、ネットワークテストを経て発生した問題やいただいているご意見に関してフィードバックをさせていただく目的ということもありまして、本放送とは別に小数点の放送をさせていただきました。
So they're going to give some information about things going forward here. And as like I said at the beginning of the stream, this is a decimal stream, so it's just going to be focused on the network test. But
本日お伝えさせていただいた、問題の修正、調整進めて
so in this stream, they talked about problems and areas for adjustment in the network
き
test.
まして、次回こちらです。
But for next time, let's take a look.
ドンということで、
Number 7. We're looking for the number 7th live stream at the end of May.
次
It's
回予
looking
告
good.
フルプロ通信いよいよナンバリングが7ということで、5月
Number 7,
実施さ
it's
せていただきたいと思っております。
Number 7.
開発として次回はブルプロ通信7を実施すべく進行を行っております。
Good.
何かのトラブルや問題などで、万が一ですね、ご利用遅れてしまう場合には、
Yeah, maybe June release then if they have the...
少数点放送をする可能性はありますが、次回も番組の1週間前には、番組日時を、お知らせいたします。
I was too excited and I wasn't listening to what they were talking about.
5月の下旬には実施させていただいた
So let's jump back.
いただいた、問題の修正、調整進めていきまして、次回こちらです。ドンということで、はい、次回予告フルプロ通信いよいよナンバリングが
All right. Yeah. So like they're saying that the numbered stream has come. The number 7 stream is going to be coming end of May. So next month, end of next month. So probably in about a month or so, maybe we'll get the stream.
5月の下旬には実施させていただきたいと思っております。開発として次回はブルプロ通信7を実施すべく進行を行っております。何かのトラブルや問題などで、万が一ですね、ご利用遅れてしまう場合には、
So, and once again, they're in development, moving forward with the stream planned next month. But if there was a problem that were to happen again, they're going to let us know.
状況を説明するための少数点放送をする。
So if needed, they could do another decimal stream to explain the situation. Hopefully they don't need that though. Hopefully they just go straight towards this number 7 stream.
ではありますが、次回も番組の1週間前には、番組日時を、お知らせいたします。これがですね、7となっている場合には、皆さんがお待ちいただいている情報をお届けできるかと思いますので、次が7になるようご期待いただければと思っております。
はい。
Nice.
そ
So
れ
the
では
number 7
本日の
stream.
プロ通信はこちらで終了となります。皆さん次回じゃない皆さん最後まで、ご覧いただきまして、ありがとうございました。
So I'd like to thank everyone for watching up to this point.
いただいた方、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
はい。また次回ブルプロ通信でお会いいたしましょう。
We hope to see everyone in the next Blooper Vault communication
7で
stream.
会いましょう。
頑張
See
り
you
ます。
in the 7th stream. Nice. So it's about as I had planned, or as I thought. So the next major stream is going to be next month. It sounds like. So number 7 is going to be coming at the end of next month. And I'm expecting what they talked about in a previous stream is that the number 7 stream is going to be about the roadmap of the game going forward. So most likely it's going to be in regards to release and future updates. So I am pretty hopeful for a release date in the next stream. I have a feeling that that's going to be their major announcement stream. So definitely that's going to be the one to tune in for. Yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Hopefully the translation was good. And I'll try to make a summary of it once again on my YouTube channel. I was doing a dual stream this time, just kind of testing it out. But yeah, on my YouTube channel, it's going to have a summary of the stream. I'll try to make that within the next few days. And then we'll just have to be looking forward to next month. Now hoping for the big announcement, maybe a release date. So if they're having a stream at the end of May, maybe in June release date. Is that a possibility? It seems like a possibility. So that's something to look forward to. Yep. That's the end of the stream.
出していく。
Went to their second stream from like how many years back. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Project Us, thank you so much. Just throw that back up.
まあそう
Maybe just go back through a couple of the things that I saw on the stream this time. But I guess overall impressions, it seems like they took a lot of the feedback from the network test, and they really are working to improve the game. So a lot of things like the drop rates and class balancing as well, and I guess just balancing within the classes by themselves. And what else do we have? Like the healing in the field areas as well. That was also an issue for some classes in particular that didn't have self-healing. You were kind of stranded or forced to go back to camp areas. So it's nice that they seem to be working on improving that as well. Overall, I think it was a very good stream, and it's looking good. A lot of the major problem areas from the network test looks like they're being addressed and being worked on, being fixed. And they're even looking at gathering while on a mount, which will make gathering a lot easier. So overall, lots of quality of life changes as well to the game, which is going to make it feel a lot better to play. Yeah, maybe early June. We could hope for like early June or something. Can you now gather an amount? Not immediately, but they're working on getting it implemented, and they're hoping to put it in a future update, most likely after the game releases. So it won't most likely won't be in for the game's release, but in a future update they're gonna add that. That's their plan currently. So as to kind of be expected, they're gonna have some things that are gonna be must for release, like the major server issues. They were talking about problems with like the party system, and I guess parties not properly coming together. I think it was like when crossing zones and things like that, and some party issues. So like things like that need to be kind of addressed before the game releases, because that's kind of core to the game. But other than that, some of the other quality of life features I'm guessing will be coming later on. I'm gonna be looking at some of the comments here. Yeah, it's hope for early June. Definitely hope for early June. That's going to be what I'm hoping for. If they have it early June, that'd be great. But yeah, definitely I'm expecting some big announcement in the next stream, especially since it's planning to be their 7.0 stream. And I think that's going to be their big announcement stream before the game launches. Definitely from everything we've kind of like seen so far. Other than that, what did they have here? I don't know if there was any other like really interesting things. I guess just overall, lots of good changes they made. It's basically, yeah, everything that was kind of the main problems. Adventure board drop rates, gathering, those are all being addressed. Class balance, all going to be looked at. Making the Spellweaver, Twin Striker, and Blade Warden all feel better. Yeah, it was kind of funny, the proportion of male to female characters. You had 75% female characters. I wonder how that'll be compared to like different like regions around the world. Is Japan gonna be like this? Or is it gonna be the same in America as well? Maybe. I wonder. And then they had character information. This is kind of interesting to look at as well. I'll probably kind of go back and look at this some more later as well, but a lot of smaller and medium characters here. Yeah, lots of small characters looks like. A blue protocol site so you can tick down things. The next stream is gonna be end of May. I wonder what they're gonna do. Yeah, how long of like breather time we're gonna have before release or something if they were to have release. I'm still hoping hoping for June, which I think is still maybe a possibility, but we'll have to see. But definitely the next stream is feeling like a big announcement. That's definitely the one to be looking forward to. And all these class changes were great. Yeah, still hoping. But yeah, I'm pretty optimistic. Yeah, no information about Southeast Asia. I'm not sure how that'll work. Can you do a recap? Sure. I'll do a quick recap for people coming in later and whatnot. And also, I'm gonna make a summary video later on as well with the information I'll put together. But the main things, this was focused on feedback from the network test. There were two main things about the results from the network test and also adjustments they're going to be making in the future. And as for the server infrastructure, there was some issues with the open, when they had launched network test, there was issues with loading not ending. Some servers needed maintenance and also some various errors. But overall, the servers looked to be fine, especially with their server scaling system. That was a problem with the network test that had originally delayed it. So that original network test bug that caused them a 2-month delay, that area seemed to be fine, which is good news. As for other things, where they have their backend, I guess there was some problem with like the GM kind of like logging tools or like the backend logging tools and things like that, where the log would have too much information and it was getting bogged down. So I guess some of these areas are looking at being improved. And security solution, there was some players trying to cheat in the game and they got banned. So don't cheat in the game if you don't want to get banned. Other things, yeah, just general improvements. What is this? Oh, yeah, there was also some problems with the party systems that are looking at fixing that, and then just general game balance, which they went into for quite a bit. And then they had their survey kind of thing here, where they had 75% of the players were female characters, and then 25% of the players were male characters. They had information on what stats like everyone was using for the characters. For like hairstyles, popular hairstyles, which ones? 3 and 6 were very popular, followed by 11, a ponytail. And then looks like there was a wider variety of colors between, this is the male hair colors versus female hair colors, which had a little bit more variation. Seems like whiter, or maybe like black, or white hair maybe was the pretty popular overall for a lot of characters. But otherwise there was, yeah, more variation for colors with the female characters. As for classes, it seems like there was a good balance here. With, what do we have? For level 1, class of level 1, it was all pretty well spread. Once you get to level 20, the Blade Warden seemed to be the highest percentage of players with the Blade Warden at level 20. And this was the max for the network test. So I'm not sure why the Blade Warden in particular. Maybe a lot of the players that spent the most time preferred the Blade Warden. Or I don't know if the Blade Warden was easier to level up or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. I think the Keen Strider was probably the easiest to level up with, but maybe Blade Warden was just popular for players that played longer. And this was information about crafting. Oh, and some changes they're going to be making to the game. They're going to add natural HP recovery to field areas. So before you would have to go back to a campsite or use a healing item, but now you can naturally recover HP if you're out of combat with your weapon stored. And then if you sit down, you recover faster. And if you're in a camp or a village, you get even more healing recovery. Yeah, and as for, there was somebody saying, wasn't it like 6% who reached level 20? Yeah, they said overall, I think 6% of all the players reached level 20. So it was, I guess that's, I don't know if it's a large or small number, but that, yeah, it's the population. It was probably, what you had around 100,000 testers or so, if you include the friend invites. They didn't say how much HP regen it will be, but they said there will be HP regen out of combat. Sitting down will increase the speed, and being in a camp or a village will further increase it. So if you want the fastest recovery, you can go to those areas, but otherwise you'll be able to recover naturally. And they said they want to be able to, players to be able to maybe do some more risky things, like get a larger group of enemies, fight with them, and not have to worry about going back to a camp or something after. So not limiting their play style. So, and if you take some damage now or you get whittled down some, you can always just gather and you'll be fine. And you're also going to be increasing the effect of healing skills. How do they detect if you're in combat? They already have like a system for in combat. Your character like naturally store there, kind of like a weapon. I think it's if you're detected by an enemy. So if you have like aggro with an enemy or something. If you get far enough away, you'll break aggro and then you'll be out of combat. I think there's like battle music as well, if I remember correctly. But otherwise, yeah, so increasing the power of healing skills as well, so giving more healing and also decreasing the cost of healing items, because the shop healing thing was too expensive. Otherwise, field bosses, world bosses, I don't know how you want to describe them. World bosses makes me imagine something like more crazy. Like a world boss, I would think more like a raid thing. But yeah, like the field bosses are like the unique, maybe like elite enemies or unique enemies that appear in the field areas that players would gather up to fight. They're going to be decreasing their health and increasing their attack because they were too damage spongy and they weren't doing much damage. So low risk, but you had to wail on them for a long time. So they're going to increase the risk of fighting them, but make them die a little bit faster. And they're going to be looking at balancing that so they don't die instantly. Otherwise, they're also looking at increasing regular drops from, I think, inside the dungeon missions and things. Because you have there's a chance for rare drops to appear in those. So like you can get weapons as rare drops. So I think they're looking at improving those drop rates. Otherwise, they're making adjustments to the aggro system because I guess they were having issues with players that entered combat partway through would have a high aggro value so that enemies would target them very quickly. So if somebody ran by you on a mount and they were considered in combat, the enemy might chase after the mounted player. So that was an issue. And also they're making adjustments to the classes. In particular, the Blade Warden, Twin Striker, and Spell Weaver felt pretty weak early on. So they're going to be improving those classes. For the Blade Warden, they're going to give them a taunt skill. So they can taunt enemies to force them to attack them. So I guess provoke or taunt or whatever you want to call it. The enemy, so it's a taunt status now. So enemies get forced to attack that target for a certain amount of time. And this is because the Blade Warden later on has more natural aggro generation, but at the early game, it doesn't have so much. So that's going to be kind of help you out a little bit earlier on when you don't have that your aggro generation abilities all built up yet. Either will you make Either will you make a video for the developer update with English translation for this one or the next one? this one I'll probably make a summary as well later on my channel with the information kind of condensed down to key points. For later live streams, I usually do all the live streams, so I'll probably be doing this kind of same thing again. But yeah, just going through this, what else we had? Yeah, so Blade Warden's going to be easier to get aggro because they're going to add like the taunt skill and condition. For Twin Striker, they're adding shorter cooldown and increasing the power of a lot of their skills. Put some music on the back while I'm doing this. And it's mostly due to the fact that the Twin Striker is supposed to be kind of the main DPS kind of class, but they're lacking in damage compared to the Foe Breaker. So now it's going to be doing a little bit more damage with shorter cooldowns and more power on their skills. And also one of their class abilities relied on being below a certain health threshold, but you could be healed by teammates and then you wouldn't be below that threshold, so it'd be hard to control. So they're looking at changing that to being at like max health. The closer you are to max health, you do more damage. How important do I think tank in the game? I don't think it's going to be super important, but I could see it being powerful for some like the party missions, so like the dungeons and whatnot, being able to group up enemies and then AoE them. So if you could have your tank at least be able to take aggro to be able to group up the enemies, it would make it easier for the other classes to use their AoE. And also the tank being able to take enemy off the long range classes allows them to get back to attacking more, which will be nice. So looks like they're looking at making the tank be able to take aggro a little bit better. And then as for Spellweaver, EP reduction overall for all their skills and increased damage for a lot of their skills as well. So looks like they're trying to make the Spellweaver feel a little bit better, which looks good. And with the EP reduction, now having the EP regeneration skills there means that they're going to be more impactful because you're not using as much EP, so your EP, as it recovers and it goes down while you're using the skills, you'll be able to basically spam skills if you have like one of your EP recovery skills available. One of them is like Concentrate, which is a tactical skill that you can equip. It gives you a decent amount of EP recovery. So while that's active, you can spam some skills like nonstop if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can have your basic attack to put a lower amount of EP recovery on, which will still allow you to use skills quite frequently. So it's going to feel a little bit better. And for the Keen Strider and Foe Breaker, not too many great changes because they were in pretty good position in the network test. Some, I guess, just cooldown reductions for some of their skills, and then more recovery for the Keen Strider, more healing recovery for some of their skills. And yeah, the Foe Breaker is just some cooldown reductions. Enemy drop rates. So yeah, there was problems with enemy drop rates, right? What is this? Can I be a high DPS Keen Strider only? No, I think going forward, probably the Twin Striker and Spellweaver are looking to be higher DPS. I'm feeling like they were low DPS in the network test, so they're making adjustments to make them better. So I think they're going to improve in DPS quite a bit. The Keen Strider is probably going to be kind of like a balanced class where it can do decent damage and have healing as well. The name change. Yeah, I try to stick with the new name change, but yeah, if you get confused, just tell me. I'll try to make adjustments. Keen Strider is the same as Blast Archer. I could just call them by their weapon or something. The bow class. Archer. Yeah, it's looking like there's going to be like a Lancer class as well. So maybe that's another announcement in the next stream. Maybe they'll have a release date and a new class reveal along with their roadmap going forward I could see that being contents of the next stream. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next stream the most. That would be nice. But yeah, it had already like accidentally like uploaded a video, not a video, but a picture of like an icon for like the Lance class like on their site, it seemed. And I think there was some data mine information about that as well, but it's looking like there's probably like a spear kind of Lance class, I think, appearing as well. Yeah, so once again, enemy drop rates, it seemed like they balanced a lot of things on the basis of being in a party, but not a lot of players were in a party for a lot of the game, so they're going to focus more on balancing drop rates for solo players as well. So it makes it a little bit easier, so I guess probably increase the drop rates overall, so it's easier to get drops even if you're solo. And then also if you go in a party, it'll be even easier then. And also they're going to add, for gathering points, they're going to add some gathering points that guarantee certain materials, so you don't have to rely on RNG for everything. And then what was it? The Venture rank had capped your class level, and that's going away. And as for the Venturer board, they made a lot of adjustments to that. They're adding free spaces, so you can do some of the things out of order or in any order. They're going to look at also increasing the number of boards that can be active at once. And also for the boards, where do we have it? For the item boards in particular, they're going to make it so you can get all the materials needed to craft that specific item for like an Enhance Imagine or a weapon. You'll be able to get everything you need from that board. So you won't, before you only could get part of the materials. So now you'll be able to get all the needed materials. I don't think they said anything about loading screens, but maybe that's something they'll look at maybe after launch, or maybe make some adjustments to that. Yeah, so that was the adventure board stuff. And any other major things? And then, yeah, the final thing was just the next live stream, number 7. So this was a decimal live stream, which meant it's a little bit more focused and not going to have as many larger announcements in it. But this next one is going to be number 7, which I'm predicting to be one of their major live streams before launch of the game. So maybe the last like major live stream before launch. And that's going to be end of next month. And I think that's a quick summary of everything. Yeah, so that covers just about everything. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Like I said, I'll try to keep everyone up to date on future information as well. I'll try to get a summary of this up as well once I can kind of get the information put together. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next month as well for the next major live stream, right? That's the one I'm hoping for. I have high hopes for it. I'm very optimistic. I'm thinking release date. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling a release date here in the next one. But yes, thanks everyone for tuning in. Always appreciate it. And like I said, hope to see you next time. Later.